Narendra. To spread his message to the four corners of the earth, Sri Ramakrishna needed a strong instrument. With his frail body and delicate limbs, he could not make great journeys across wide spaces. And such an instrument was found in Narendranath Gupta, his beloved Naren, later known to the world as Swami Vivekananda. Even before meeting Narendranath, the Master had seen him in a vision as a sage, immersed in the meditation of the Absolute, who, at Sri Ramakrishna's request, had agreed to take human birth to assist him in his work. Narendra was born in Calcutta on January 12, 1863, of an aristocratic Kayastha family. His mother was steeped in the great Hindu epics, and his father, a distinguished attorney of the Calcutta High Court, was an agnostic about religion, a friend of the poor, and a mocker at social conventions. Even in his boyhood and youth, Narendra possessed great physical courage and presence of mind, a vivid imagination, deep power of thought, keen intelligence, an extraordinary memory, a love of truth, a passion for purity, a spirit of independence, and a tender heart. An expert musician, he also acquired proficiency in physics, astronomy, mathematics, philosophy, history, and literature. He grew up into an extremely handsome young man. Even as a child, he practiced meditation and showed great power of concentration. Though free and passionate in word and action, he took the vow of austere religious chastity and never allowed the fire of purity to be extinguished by the slightest defilement of body or soul. As he read in college the rationalistic Western philosophers of the 19th century, his boyhood faith in God and religion was unsettled. He would not accept religion on mere faith. He wanted demonstration of God. But very soon his passionate nature discovered that mere universal reason was cold and bloodless. His emotional nature, dissatisfied with the mere abstraction, required a concrete support to help him in the hours of temptation. He wanted an external power, a guru, who, by embodying perfection in the flesh, would still the commotion of his soul. Attracted by the magnetic personality of Keshav, he joined the Brahmo Samaj and became a singer in its choir. But in the Samaj, he did not find the Guru who could say that he had seen God. In a state of mental conflict and torture of soul, Narendra came to Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar. He was then 18 years of age and had been in college 2 years. He entered the master's room accompanied by some light-hearted friends. At Sri Ramakrishna's request, he sang a few songs, pouring his whole soul into them, and the master went into samadhi. A few minutes later, Sri Ramakrishna suddenly left his seat, took Narendra by the hand, and led him to the screened veranda north of his room. They were alone. Addressing Narendra most tenderly, as if he were a friend of a long acquaintance, the master said, "Ah, you have come very late. Why have you been so unkind as to make me wait all these days? My ears are tired of hearing the futile words of worldly men. Oh, how I have longed to pour my spirit into the heart of someone fitted to receive my message." He talked thus, sobbing all the time. Then, standing before Narendra with folded hands, he addressed him as Narayana, born on earth to remove the misery of humanity. Grasping Narendra's hand, he asked him to come again, alone and very soon. Narendra was startled. "What is this I have come to see?" he said to himself. "He must be stark mad. Why, I am the son of Vishwanath Datta. How dare he speak this way to me?" When they returned to the room and Narendra heard the master speaking to others, he was surprised to find in his words an inner logic, a striking sincerity, and a convincing proof of his spiritual nature. In answer to Narendra's question, "Sir, have you seen God?" the master said, "Yes, I have seen God. I have seen him more tangibly than I see you. I have talked to him more intimately than I am talking to you." Continuing, the master said, "But, my child, who wants to see God? People shed jugs of tears for money, wife, and children. But if they would weep for God for only one day, they would surely see him." Narendra was amazed. These words he could not doubt. This was the first time he had ever heard a man saying that he had seen God. But he could not reconcile these words of the master with the scene that had taken place on the veranda only a few minutes before. he concluded that Sri Ramakrishna was a monomaniac and returned home rather puzzled in mind. During his second visit, about a month later, suddenly, at the touch of the Master, Narendra felt overwhelmed and saw the walls of the room and everything around him whirling and vanishing. "What are you doing to me?" he cried in terror. "I have my father and mother at home." He saw his own ego and the whole universe almost swallowed in a nameless void. With a laugh, the Master easily restored him. Narendra thought he might have been hypnotized, but he could not understand how a monomaniac could cast a spell over the mind of a strong person like himself. He returned home more confused than ever, resolved to be henceforth on his guard before the strange man. But during his third visit, Narendra fared no better. This time, at the Master's touch, he lost consciousness entirely. While he was still in that state, Sri Ramakrishna questioned him concerning his spiritual antecedents and whereabouts, his mission in this world, and the duration of his mortal life. The answers confirmed what the Master himself had known and inferred. Among other things, he came to know that Narendra was a sage who had already attained perfection, and that the day he learned his real nature, he would give up his body in yoga by an act of will. A few more meetings completely removed from Narendra's mind the last traces of the notion that Sri Ramakrishna might be a monomaniac or willy hypnotist. His integrity, purity, renunciation, and unselfishness were beyond question. But Narendra could not accept a man, an imperfect mortal, as his guru. As the member of the Brahmo Samaj, he could not believe that a human intermediary was necessary between man and God. Moreover, he openly laughed at Sri Ramakrishna's visions as hallucinations. Yet, in the secret chamber of his heart, he bore a great love for the Master.